Have you ever felt the subtle weight of being undervalued? Not through direct words, but in fleeting gestures, averted gazes, or silences that speak louder than any accusation. It's like an underground current trying to pull you in. But here is the secret. It only has power if you let it. Today, we won't waste energy on complaints or seeking recognition. Instead, we'll transform this kind of disdain into a driving force for something extraordinary. I am going to share 8 practical steps that will not only strengthen your confidence, but also perplex those who insist on underestimating you. The inspiration comes from a philosophy that has stood the test of time: resilience. This approach teaches us that true strength lies in consistency, balance, and the ability to act wisely, even in the face of adversity. Because, let's be honest, few things disarm someone trying to diminish you more than realizing their attempts don't faze you. Ready to turn these challenges into fuel? The final tip could completely revolutionize the way you see these situations. Let's dive in. 1. Serenity is your greatest strength. Have you noticed how life sometimes feels like a stormy sea? In this scenario, the waves are our emotions, while the storms represent others' actions attempting to destabilize us. But just like a lighthouse stands firm, your greatest defense is serenity. When everything around seems chaotic, it becomes your most powerful advantage. Think about it. Imagine you are in an important presentation, and someone makes a sharp comment about what you just presented. Arrows aimed to hit you. What would your natural reaction be? Perhaps to strike back or feel hurt, right? But this is where the wisdom of serenity comes into play. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, picture yourself as a solid mountain, unshaken even in the fiercest storms. That is true strength, remaining unbothered. Serenity isn't just about staying calm during easy times. It's a skill honed, like sharpening a precious tool. When you feel tension rising, try this. Take a deep breath, hold it for a moment, and then exhale slowly, as if releasing all unnecessary weight. This simple act is like pressing the reset button on your emotional balance. Face challenges like an out-of-tune orchestra while you, the conductor, continue leading the rhythm with firmness and precision. Serenity isn't the absence of problems, but the ability to stay centered even when everything around you is in disorder. Even more importantly, remember that the criticism or disdain we often face reflects the insecurities or frustrations of those projecting them. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of reacting with anger, choose empathy. Imagine that the person trying to belittle you may be fighting their own battles. By responding with understanding, you not only maintain your peace, but also become a source of calm that can inspire others to do the same. That's what serenity is. A quiet balance with the power to turn conflicts into learning experiences and challenges into growth. 2. Build on your strengths. Have you ever felt like people see your ideas as impossible or senseless? As if, instead of carrying a project or talent, you are holding something completely out of place. These judgments, disguised as comments or glances, are like embers. The question is, will you let them extinguish your flame, or will you use them to fuel your progress? T here is a valuable lesson here. Don't waste energy on impulsive reactions. Focus on growth. Turn the criticism and disdain you receive into a bridge to your next level. Imagine your life as a grand challenge, like climbing a mountain. Each time someone doubts you, it's not an obstacle, it's motivation to reach the summit. Think about your skills. Maybe you are great at analyzing problems, have a creative eye for innovative solutions, or possess a unique talent for connecting ideas. Whatever your strength, it's time to dive deeper into it. When someone doubts you, use it as fuel. Yes, criticism hurts, but see it as a marker, a reference point to adjust your focus. Here is a practical exercise. Take a notebook and write down everything you do well. Then reflect. What can be improved? How can you expand these skills? When you compare the criticism you've received to what you are capable of, you realize it loses its weight. Here is the secret. It's not about proving something to others. It's about growing for yourself. Redirect your energy. Forget resentment and focus on progress. Because T here is no more powerful response to those who doubt you than your continuous development. With each quiet achievement, you not only advance but also create ripples that unsettle those who underestimated you. Today, you might face disdain, but tomorrow, those same people will witness the impact of your growth. And the best part? You don't have to announce anything. Simply live your progress, and it will speak for itself. The strongest success doesn't need to be shouted, it simply exists, undeniable and commanding. 3. Demand what you truly deserve. Have you ever stopped to reflect on what you genuinely deserve in life? In a world where mediocrity often rules, raising your standards isn't just a choice, it's a necessity. Life is your masterpiece, and you are the artist. If you let others dictate what's possible for you, you'll end up with a bland, uninspired creation riddled with limitations. Instead, seize control of your narrative. Envision yourself as one of the great thinkers of the past, individuals who not only recognized their worth, but refused to settle for anything that didn't align with their values and aspirations. True strength doesn't lie in impulsive or dramatic reactions. It resides in the quiet confidence of knowing your value without needing external validation. Consider your relationships, for instance. Do you often feel diminished? Are your interactions laced with veiled criticisms disguised as jokes or sarcasm? If so, why stay in an environment that stifles your growth? Elevate your standards. Surround yourself with people who push you to improve and inspire you to become your best self. Doing so will not only enrich your life, but also set a clear boundary for what you are willing to accept. Take Anna, for example, a young professional who felt undervalued in her team. Her ideas were frequently dismissed, and her colleagues masked their jabs as humor. One day, Anna realized she had been allowing these behaviors to hold her back. She sought a new team that would challenge her positively. By surrounding herself with people who recognized her worth, she not only advanced her career, but also found her confidence and self-esteem skyrocketing. You don't have time to waste on toxic relationships or energy-draining environments. Of course, this path isn't always easy. Sometimes, raising your standards means embracing temporary solitude. Think of it like adopting healthier habits. At first, it feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But as time passes, the benefits become undeniable. Your energy soars, your well-being flourishes, and most importantly, you feel more aligned with your authentic self. This discomfort is simply growth in disguise. Your standards are not about arrogance. They're a reflection of self-respect. Never settle for less than what you know you deserve. Seek out people who see your true worth and gravitate toward environments that challenge and propel you forward. Sometimes, all it takes is a moment of introspection and the courage to make a change. With determination, you can build a life that truly reflects your value. 4. You don't need anines approval. In a remote village, there lived a young man named Miguel, who constantly sought the recognition of those around him. He worked hard, but his self-esteem seemed directly tied to the words and gestures of others. When he didn't receive the praise he expected, he felt demotivated and lost. One day, during a conversation with an elder in the village, he heard something that would change his life forever. Miguel, true strength comes from within. The earth doesn't need the winds to applaud it to grow. These words resonated deeply with Miguel. He decided to stop seeking external validation and focus on his own growth. Slowly, he realized that his peace and confidence were within him, not dependent on the opinions of others. He began to focus on his own values and what truly made him happy. Instead of constantly seeking approval, Miguel started acting according to his principles, like a tree that remained steadfast even in the strongest winds. In doing so, he found his true strength, one that didn't depend on others' opinions but on his own self-sufficiency. You too can be like Miguel. Discover that true strength comes from within. When you stop seeking external validation and begin connecting with what truly matters to you, you'll realize that the only approval that truly matters is your own. Let others speak, observe, and criticize, but keep moving forward because you do it for you. The most important applause is the one that comes from your own heart. 5. Surround yourself with people who value you. Have you ever noticed how sometimes we find ourselves surrounded by people who, instead of pushing us forward, keep us stuck in a cycle of mediocrity? It's like trying to climb a mountain, and instead of help, these people pull us down, hindering our progress. Our life is like a forest, and the people we associate with are the trees we choose to plant. If you choose to plant weak trees, how can you expect your grove to become a majestic forest? Why not surround yourself with people who inspire you, who help you grow and flourish? It may sound like a cliché, but here is a depth to this advice that we often forget to explore. Stoic philosophy reminds us that we should focus on those who genuinely contribute to our well-being. Genuine relationships are essential for our growth. These relationships are like the sun to a plant. They nurture us, help us grow, and without them, we can easily wither. Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when we're surrounded by those who don't value us? Sometimes, simply ignoring them isn't enough. Instead, it's necessary to cultivate your own peace and prosperity in such a way that, when you look back, those who underestimated you will see how far they've been left behind. Think of Lucas, a young man who, for years, felt stuck in a circle of friends who didn't support his ambitions. Every time he shared his dreams and projects, the others would make jokes or downplay his efforts. This left him demotivated for a while, until he realized that instead of trying to please everyone, he should seek the company of people who believed in his potential. Lucas decided to distance himself from those who made him doubt himself, and started getting closer to people who, like him, were striving to grow and reach new horizons. Over time, Lucas flourished, and his old friends were left behind as he reached new heights, fueled by relationships that truly supported him. Surround yourself with those who lift you up. It's not just about immediate well-being, it's about creating a life that is rich, meaningful, and full of potential. The relationships that truly matter are those that help us become the best version of ourselves. The next time someone fails to value you, remember, life is too short to waste time with those who don't recognize the brilliance you carry within. Free yourself from the invisible chains that bind you and allow yourself to be who you truly are. The peace you seek isn't in the approval of others, but in the power of embracing and recognizing your own greatness. 6. Turn challenges into opportunities for growth. Sometimes, life seems to take pleasure in challenging us. People around us, with subtle gestures or harsh words, almost seem dedicated to underestimating us, with looks and attitudes that make us feel small. These are the moments when, feeling invaded by judgments, a sense of inadequacy takes hold. But what if, instead of succumbing to the pain of those moments, you could use them as fuel for your personal growth? Imagine you are participating in a competition, but instead of being the center of attention, you find yourself as an observer. While others expose themselves, you position yourself as a learner, attentive and absorbing everything around you. That's how life is too. When we feel attacked, we can be observers, learning from adversity and absorbing lessons from the challenges that arise. Every gesture of contempt then becomes a signal that what really matters is within you. Stoicism teaches us that we are the masters of our reactions, not prisoners of other people's opinions. What people think of us does not define our greatness. Our feelings and reactions belong solely to us. Think about how you can react when a stone is thrown in your direction. You can let it knock you down or transform that stone into a foundation to build something greater. True strength isn't in grand gestures, but in the constancy of small daily actions that make us more resilient. Silence is where the deepest power resides. Silent resilience doesn't spread through shouting, but through the firmness of actions that stay on course, like a tree growing even in the face of storms. Imagine a young man named Raphael, who was always a shy and insecure student. For years, he was criticized for his performance, but instead of retaliating or feeling sad about the critiques, Raphael focused on learning. When someone criticized him for not being good enough, he asked himself, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, he used each negative comment as fuel to improve. His journey was silent but steady. Over time, those who once doubted Raphael began to see him achieve feats that once seemed impossible. He never needed to shout about his victory. He simply lived it, with a silence that showed the true strength of his evolution. Every challenge you face should be seen as a disguised opportunity. The look of contempt from someone could be a chance to reflect on your priorities, to reaffirm what's important to you. Every obstacle on your path is not a hindrance, but a springboard to the next level. And remember, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. This journey is yours. Every experience that transforms adversity into learning is a step toward your own empowerment. So, when facing challenges, keep growing in silence, using every critique or disdain as fuel for your own development. In the end, those who underestimated you will often be the first to admire you. And that, my friend, is not something you need to make a point of showing. It's the silent resilience that will speak for itself. 7. In a world where noise seems to be everywhere, where people compete to stand out, maybe it's time to take a different path. Not the one where you shout for attention, but the one where you move with the power of actions. Instead of raising your voice to be heard, how about letting your deeds speak for you? Imagine a room full of people showing off, each trying to showcase their achievements, speaking louder than the others, trying to be the center of attention. But in the midst of all this chaos, you remain serene, like a tree in an open field, growing without haste, not seeking recognition. Your presence is noticed not by the amount of words, but by the solidity of your stance. True power doesn't lie in how you present yourself to the world, but in how you act silently, with purpose and precision. It's like a candle lit in a dark room. It doesn't need to announce its presence. Its light speaks for itself. The same applies to you. Every small gesture, every effort, every step taken with integrity is what really matters. Imagine a sculptor working on a marble piece. He doesn't make noise, doesn't ask for attention. The stone, hard and imposing, isn't softened by words, but by patience, by continuous work. When he finishes the work, he doesn't need to shout to the four winds. His creation speaks for itself, impresses others with its beauty, its perfection. In the end, your actions and accomplishments will resonate much louder than any words you could have said. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we do, not on what we say. It's through consistency, calm, and silent courage that we truly show who we are. So, move forward. Make your life a work that speaks for itself, one that is recognized not by the amount of words, but by the depth of your actions. Because in the end, it's not the noise that makes history, but the deeds that support it. I want you to carry with you a simple yet transformative idea. True power lies within you, not in words, nor in external validations, but in the actions you perform silently every day. In a world that screams for attention, you can be the one who moves with purpose, with calm, and with confidence. Remember, the difficulties you encounter, the criticisms and moments of adversity, are just fuel for your evolution. Don't let what others think shake you. Instead, transform these experiences into learning, into growth. When you choose to live based on your values, surrounded by people who truly value you, your life begins to shape differently, and instead of seeking approval, you become your own source of validation. If you've been inspired by this journey, if this message has touched something inside you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video with someone you know who needs to hear this. Because, in the end, actions speak louder, and your next step is the most important. Until the next video.